Vietnamese, Vinh Chau, and welcome to the first ever STB Vietnam Grand Prix live from the city of Hanoi, here at the Hanoi circuit in Vietnam, in the Vietnamese capital. You join us for round 3 of the Tier 1 Championship in season 17 of STB, and I'm joined in the commentary box once again by Riggsy X. Riggsy, how you doing? And a new track for the drivers to navigate here this evening.
Firstly, just want to build on your warm welcome there once again, Maldy. Great to be back in the booth once again, and for a brand new circuit nonetheless. The first of 2 in the Season 7 Championship here in the STB. We're going to be here in Vietnam. And the track, I was doing the recording for the hot lap, I was doing the track previews as well, and just general research of the circuit as well. And if the track gives anything off, it feels very similar to Valencia back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. It kind of has that Valencia vibe with the walls always right on the edge of the track, ready to punish, that street-like nature as well.
Sorry to echo that, Riggsy, but they actually, I did some research, and they actually changed the initial layout for the circuit, and the final corner was not going to be the double right. The last corner was initially going to be a carbon copy of Valencia final corner. So it's definitely got that Valencia.
Definitely, like the drivers coming to this circuit is going to be great for the drivers because nobody has really put in much experience. We're still quite early into this game's life cycle as well. Like where this game was out in July, we're in the late August period as well. So the drivers have only had just under 2 months to try and familiarise themselves with the circuit and try and kind of get the setup that they want, try and get the strategy right, try and just kind of get the reference points nailed and so on and so forth as well. So drivers will really be trying to push the limits, and this is probably like a prime opportunity for anybody just to kind of go all in and try and chase the win. I think Owen Buckley's just hit the wall on his flying lap there, so he kind of let the rears on turn 11 and into turn 12.
I think that's something that these guys need to really think as well, that this track also gives me vibes. It gives me vibes of like Korea in the final sector. The final sector gives me Korea vibes. That was a very technical. So I think from what I've seen from the Korean track in the league previously, that final sector didn't really bring many overtaking opportunities. It didn't really bring much action. Firstly, I don't think we are going to be seeing a race which is going to be dominated by battling and overtaking. I think strategy is going to be a deciding factor in this race. I don't think there's going to be many overtakes, apart from maybe the long straight, of course, the longest straight on the calendar, now into the hairpin. Apart from that, I don't really think there's going to be many overtakes. What do you think about that, Alexander?
There is 3 DRS zones on the track as well. Like the only real the most obvious opportunity is into this hairpin at turn 11 at the end of the big straight. This is where we're going to see most of the drivers jostling and switching places up and down that big straight. There is 3 DRS zones, which is quite interesting because the track is really trying to make up for the compromise of it being a street circuit with additional DRS zones for there to be extra encouragement to try and take the chances, take the risks, and try and overtake into turns 1 and 6 respectively. But they are going to be the main overtaking opportunities, as we were saying about the third sector being very similar to the track that was in Yeongnam and South Korea. It's just going to be single file through there. If Emma's going to try and make a move into turn 22, 23 even, as we see Liberal getting his lap all wrong there on the flying lap there.
Yeah, it's the very technical final sector, we'd say, and I think the drivers will need to make sure that they follow appropriately, because the dirty games we're not definitely going to be seeing in today's race. But Riggsy, in the party right now, we have got Ferrari driver Bullseye out on straight, currently on his out lap, and going to come off the lane down, press the tyres on. We've got him into the party. If you'd like to include your audio, ask you a few questions and get yourself back out on circuit. You've had a decent start, Bullseye, to the season so far. Australia was a standout performance for you, getting a very good result. How's the preparation gone for this race? A very unknown spectacle has erupted actually in Vietnam. Okay. Like the sound of that. You like the sound of that. Bullseye. That bullseye, very interesting. Australia and Bahrain have been some decent performances for you. What have you learned from the first 2 races? What have you learned to enable you to go far this season in terms of challenging the title? Okay. Bullseye. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, try that. Okay, thank you, Bullseye, and we will maybe see you on the podium. Who knows? Have a good one. So, Ricky, yeah, Bullseye not really giving too much away about what he's learned in preparation, but he has gave away a vital piece of information raining in the race. How is that going to play out?
Well, that's the first thing that we picked up on that interview with Bullseye there is it's definitely going to have some rain in the race. That's also the key factor in that, and that's ricocheted into what you're seeing on the timing boards at the moment. Everybody, bar the exception of 3 drivers, have selected the softs, so definitely the red compound tyre seems to be the tyre of choice going into the race. We don't know when the rain's going to come in. It can be it's a 28 lap race, so it's between lap 1 and 28, you've got a 1 in 28th chance if you're going to try and guess what lap the rain's going to come, but Bullseye was saying it was kind of at the later stages of the race, so I think the key thing here was MC Toxic Fusion being at the exit of turn 23 as well, but the key is going to be trying to nurse the soft tyres to the point of rain, and maybe jump into another set of softs and just anticipating the rain getting heavier enough for you to go into the intermediates, but that's definitely going to play in the minds of the drivers in terms of strategy as well. We're talking about a 2-stop strategy and drivers may be trying to push the 1, but with the rain definitely being a factor, then it seems to be 2-stopping will be the way that the drivers will be taken. And that also does answer Callum Frampton's question in the chat as well. Any idea about the strategy? It normally is a 2-stop strategy race with the size of the game, but drivers in dry conditions, it would be them trying to nurse soft tyres to the point of lap 9, 10 and maybe just chance it on the hards to try and minimise their time through the pit lane. But with the rain coming, that's definitely threw that in the air. We are just over 8 minutes left in the session. It's Billy WF, like formerly known as Urban Unicorn, leading the timing sheets. It's Hammond Jam second and third, Mercury fourth, and Dowson is the top 5.
I just want to talk about Billy WF because obviously he's been at the back of the field recently in Australia and Bahrain, and now he's up on at the moment. He won, so yeah, he can get a better lap in maybe. He could be on for a good qualifying in Vietnam.
He'll definitely want to try and rest his demons for Australia and Bahrain. He's not really had the best start to the season, but he is looking quite comfortable as well. Like right at the top of the time sheet, he's a full 10th quicker than Hamjam, and then he's 3/10 quicker than his brother as well. So Billy WF and
sorry, in the final corner, the third corner, sorry, very difficult by the roundabout section. It said on the preview that says, and that section not really what he wanted for that lap.
The roundabouts are really going to be crucial to the drivers on their laps, mainly because it's going to put so much pressure onto the front left going through turn 2 at the start, and then I'm on board with Hamjam to go through this second roundabout, and the pressure is going to be pushed onto the front right, so the tyres at the front are both getting a fair dose of extreme wear and momentum through the car in those 2 roundabouts as well. But the key thing as well alongside that is the fact that on the roundabouts, on the 2 roundabouts at turn 1 and turn 6, is the fact that the cars really want to just feel like they're skating. It kind of does feel like you're on an ice rink more than a racetrack. So it's definitely going to be crucial for the drivers to kind of use their skill in their throttle inputs to try and keep the car facing the right direction through the roundabout, because the car just wants to step out time and again. To try and combat that, I feel drivers would probably put a bit more rear wing on, but you don't really want to put too much on. It will compromise you in the free DRS straights, so it is really just trying to strike that balance.
Yes, I think also the tyres are also going to take a beating in the final sector as well, constant turning and load, so that's going to be difficult for the guys as well. But we don't really have to worry that much due to the rain. So the strategy that I've done in practice doesn't actually matter. It's all about how much wet practice I've done. Because when the rain comes, Brigsley, it's a whole different ball game. Some drivers may be slower. Obviously, some drivers might be a lot faster than they are with the drive. That's something to look out for as well.
Definitely, and the drivers knowing that there's going to be rain coming, we might not be seeing a full dry setup on these cars. So these cars don't really hit the peak. We could probably see them jumping into the 32s near the end of the session anyway. Billy WF's on a 33.0 and he's the closest to that particular time. But as the track rubbers in, it constantly will evolve, it gets less greener, drivers kind of go out there and the temperature can be just the right sweet spot for them. The track in terms of general grip can be at its best, and I definitely shared a wet setup on these, not a wet setup, but like a bit of a kind of the best of both worlds kind of thing. Drivers will be expected to be hitting at least a high 32. The 32.7 is where I'd probably wage my estimate on a pole position time.
Yes. I think the fastest by someone is maybe like a 132.3 or like a low 132, so obviously the drivers have got the wetter setups on, so we'll see. Then I'm going to say I'll go into the car. Just watch the Bruno Will. He was up on his time, so he wasn't after that. He was up on his time though.
He had the red track on the right hand side, so I think he must have invalidated the lap somewhere. So he's going to come in and get a fresh set of boots on and potentially go. He'll definitely need to go again, because Bruno Will in 14th position isn't really a match made in heaven. It's not really a combination we see all that often, if not ever. Bruno Will's normally one of the drivers that we see up at the front, winning races, challenging for the wins, regular podium visitor as well, and we've seen him in 14. What he's really done there is he's really kind of left himself on the back foot. He want a good time to start, so Bruno Will's not really in the best position. He's last season he was a championship contender. He's kind of got off to a good start with a win in Australia this season. P14 here will definitely not bode well with his chances in the race.
Now our board with miles at the moment. He did cut the chicane, I would say, the chicane after the straight in the first sector. Maybe to gain in time, I don't know, but it's not something that the driver here want to be doing. You can't be cutting corners in the outlet to reduce time, so we have to look out for drivers doing that. Robert is currently in P13 with not a good qualifying so far for Renault, 13 and 14th. Will he's down to 15th at the moment. He needs to do that. And Marbury as well is down in P16, and HRC down in P17 at the moment. So these drivers are not really showing their true potential at this moment. STB is in P14 with getting a set of mediums. Let's see what he's going to do here in Vietnam.
Definitely. While we monitor the times of one Renault, I'll lead us on board the lap with Gravity as he's about to start his. We'll go from 1 minute to the next as we see Gravity starting his lap here. He's currently 13th into the hard braking zone of turn 1. You want to just be braking just after the 100 metre board there. Puff of smoke coming from the front left. Pit lane exits on your left hand side, so you'll need to be wary in the race for drivers coming out there. They normally come out there at 120, 130 miles per hour. through the first roundabout. You're taking the third exit into the second of 3 DRS straights on the circuit, and I was speaking about this in the hot lap video as well. You can cut turn 6 and 7 quite considerably and get away with it. Gravity choosing to kind of take a good bit of 6, cut 7. You go a bit too greedy there and validates the lap. We'll not really stay on board with him, so we'll jump on board with somebody else if you can. If
We'll
jump on board with Bruno Wills. He starts a lap. We'll start from the top once again as he starts his lap. Currently 15th and definitely in need to improve his time. Breaking into turn 1. Disney lock up like Gravity did there. Takes a good bit of the curb on the inside of turn 2. Lets the car roll. Relaxes the steering to take a wider line into turn 3, 4 and 5. It's a quick lead here. Onto the second of 3 DRS straights once again as I get a cut in audio there, so I don't know what's happened there. His seat saying Fusion have retired from the session. Into turn 6 and 7. Bruno
Can I just say,
sorry, quite nicely.
Good qualifying from Fusion, he'll be happy with that. P5, he'll be happy with that.
Definitely, the Red Bulls currently 5 and 6 at the moment. Toxic Fusion has retired though, so he'll not be improving from 5th, so it'll really be a task in hand to kind of keep that place. As there's contact, there's a yellow flag in the third sector, Maldy. There's 2 cars going slowly, so I don't know what's happened there. I've just been on board that Bruno will hot lap and he is still up on his time.
I think people are
Slows
trying
the
to
car
find space. There's someone going slowly down the straight. I think they're just trying to find space for the final lap.
It's definitely a matter of traffic's going to be an issue, and Bruno Wills can he come up to the 2 Alfa Romeos. I don't know what driver it is in front, but we've got one right in front here, and they're going to have to dive out the way. It's Mercury hangs out on the left hand side of the turn 19 through turn 20. You want to take the curbs on entry and exit, ride the curb on 21. Carlet runs a wee bit too wide there as he locks up the front left, trying to keep the car close to the apex of 22 through 23. You want to carry as much again, get as close to the inside wall and let the car run out to the outside, and it's only 6th fastest for Bruno Will there as well. Definitely better than 15th, really where he'd really want to be aiming. As the checkered flag does fall in the session, these times will be final.
Billy WS is currently on pole position, 132.99. That's his first pole of the season. Great performance at HRC, wide on the first corner. Gravity is just over a tenth. Just over half a tenth up on his top of the speed.
Oh, and I'm just looking around. Let me see. Get him again. Which I'm seeing in McLaren. He is up. No, he's down. So I don't know what's happened there. I'm getting some timing glitches as we're starting to see. He's cut his turn 7 there as well, so he'll not be improving from 16. Gravity's coming up to the line through the final turn, looks quite nice. Good speed through there. Was 7th at that time, so Renault getting a time out the bag near the end of the session there. Chuck across the line just behind the P8. The McLaren of HRC will be the next to cross the line, but his lap is invalidated. He's just deciding to dive into the pits. It'll be where is he? I hate him to scroll through and look for the drivers. It's VRL Mari. He's up 4/10 a second on his final time as we'll ride on board through the final 2 turns again. Does take a good bit of curb on 22 through 23. Doesn't really go too close to the inside wall there. Does compromise his line and his time. It only improves by 2. The Williams of Liberal, not Liberal, it's the Williams of Davison who was just behind him. He goes 2nd fastest. And Jamham up to P3. And Bullseye in 4th, and there's yellow flags out, and that's for Bullseye who's spun between 21 and 22, and he's just going to come across the line. He's definitely not going to improve his time though, because he's well into the 2 minutes on his lap time there. And it's Billy WF after a bit of a wretched start to his season. Retirements in Australia and Bahrain, and he's put his car on pole position, best seat in the house for the start.
He'll be happy with that,
definitely.
But then he won't be happy with down the straight. He'll have those drivers in the slipstream, those drivers wanting to get past. So it could be difficult for Billy, I think, to keep that P1, but we'll see.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. He's going to be on the main racing line as well, so that's where the track's going to have the most general grip and traction. The inside is going to be the dirtier line off the start. So, oh, he's got a 5-place grid penalty. He's got a 5-place grid penalty. And that was for...
What happens? Have a look.
That was for... I'm just looking through the... I'm just basically shaming everybody who's inverted the lap or got a warning somewhere. It doesn't say. It does. Oh wait, grid penalty, and that was for a collision with Vize on his third lap.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
So
Billy will start P6, so on to get his first pole position, Rigsy, is FXPR Davison. He's on pole position for the Vietnam Grand Prix, and it was only 1,000 of a second slower. So very close between those two. But Billy will be hoping to get himself back up. But Rigsy, I mean, he's took his chances. There you go, not a good qualifying for Billy, even though he was on pole position.
I mean, still starting P6 is definitely a strong showing for the McLaren driver. Definitely trying to kind of find some momentum and try and kind of gain a bit of confidence back. That's going to be the key thing after these two slow starts to the season. Qualifying in pole just over 1,000 a second faster than Davison. I mean, being robbed his pole, I don't really know what happened. We never really saw it. We were just made aware of the penalty there just at the end of the qualifying session there. But still, P6 is still a healthy place to start. It puts him right behind Bruno Will and Hamjam into Mercedes.
Yeah, I think Billy will still be happy with that rig feature to an extent, because obviously he's been at the back in Australia and Bahrain, so I think that even 6th place and knowing that he had to pay to get pole position in the TL1 is, I think, will give Billy some good confidence for this race.
And that's definitely one of the crucial factors of a driver. They need to have that level of confidence to try and take it to the drivers at the front and fight for these wins, fight for these points, podiums, and keep themselves in contention. You will see the pit stop strategy there at the bottom of the screen is slightly different from what we said in their preview, but that is regarding the condition changes that we were made aware of in our interview with Bullseye in the qualifying session. He has made us aware that there is going to be rain at some point in the race, so that's definitely a role.
Yeah, everyone that qualified outside the top 10 is on medium. So if the rain falls within the medium stint, Danny, both Alfa Romeos are in the best position at the current time. This could be a big moment for the turnaround. Dixie is on a set of cars, so those guys going to be very difficult to warm those up in the first few stages of the actual session. Danny's had a bad start there, Richard. He's standing to the 18 on the formation. So the out of position, Richard, is not good. The out of position on the formation.
Definitely makes.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I was just giving the viewers just a quick scroll through the field there just to kind of get a quick shot of everybody on the formation lap, and I'd seen Billy WF had filled into about P10 when I was scrolling him at 6 and threw it back forward for gravity, and it was the same again for Murray near the end. He was a bit further up the field than everybody else, and drivers just kind of deciding to kind of maybe just practice a couple of their race moves on the formation lap. As long as they don't make contact, don't behave in an unsportsmanlike manner on the formation lap. The rule, not really too sure. I mean, it's made on a formation lap, and then we see two drivers being transported back to the grid. But say, as you say, Maldi on the hard tyres, definitely just trying to anticipate the rain. I don't really, as you were saying, really hard to heat up the tyres. I don't expect him to make too many places. I think the key thing for him is just going to be sitting in the slipstream and just try to follow the cars in front.
Yeah, definitely. So, Rigsy, the first ever Vietnam Grand Prix in Formula 1 in STB. There's been no running in real life. And I believe that we are one of the leagues to hold a Vietnam Grand Prix. This is it, Rigsy. Who's going to win the inaugural Vietnam Grand Prix? Who's going to win it?
I don't really know, Maldi. I don't know, but somebody will get there first. It'll be a debut win. That's all I'll say. Don't know who.
I'm going
just
to
want to wait my chances.
Right, guys. Here we go, Rigsy. 3 lights, it's 4 lights, it's 5 lights for the first ever Vietnam Grand Prix here in Hanoi. It's a decent start, there's a great start there from Bullseye. Keeps his position, so that's a good start from him. It's glitched, so this is not good, Rixie.
No, it's definitely. Everybody's just been ghosting, and I don't really know what's happened. There's been a small technical glitch, and we're seeing penalties being applied as well. So I don't really know what happened.
Right, I think
it's gone a bit. It feels like it's been desynced, and I'm trying to get on board. Right, that's kind of it now. But Buckley's got damage. Buckley, it looked like he jumped to start, and he didn't. He must have got the timing glitch at the start when the lights came on just that fraction earlier.
Yeah.
It looked like a really good start and just got caught out.
I couldn't commentate that start with all the glitching and all this. I couldn't do that. So sorry to the viewers there. But for what I've seen, we've got Bullseye around the outside, Trixie of Jamham. Very, very hard.
And those, sorry, there was just a big lock up there for the Alfa Romeo and Mercury, or it was for DXT Miles 1, just basically steamboated into the other there. We've got Lucas Surratt in the chat saying audio's failing. I think it's from the commentator. It must be myself. Just keep us updated. We'll try and fix that. So further apologies for that as well, just to extend for that start. It was just unfortunate that it was just so glitchy and laggy, Maldy. I don't really know why that was.
I couldn't see what was going on really, because it said Danny and Mercury were in the lead, but I couldn't see that. This game is very, very glitchy. And again, it's doing it again this year.
I feel like I'm not one to turn this stream into just sitting here listing off a list of changes that we need to see in the game, but we can't keep going with this. Like, we can't keep carrying on commentating when the timings are constantly glitching, the track's just no working, the cars just deciding to ghost, start lights failing drivers, damage being picked up on the start through glitches, time control, just everything's just no weighing up, and we're not getting the quality content we've seen from previous league races in the past. It almost, and without disrespecting it, it makes it look mediocre. Like when we're seeing a poor game in a poor lobby just by the fault of the game. And I'm really no understanding. I've had to put the position changes up. I normally put the position changes up anyway, but trying to just kind of make up for that poor, that poor quality control there from the start from the game. We've seen that Bruno Wall and Hamjam have switched places between themselves in 4th and 5th. We've seen DJ Danny, Mercury, both Alfa Romeos getting really good starts, up 4 places and 3 respectively. Liberal, Sitze up 5-7 as well. Big losers on that start was Billy WF. Got a grid penalty in qualifying, and that's further compounded with an 8th place loss on the start.
That's
Chucker's
not
lost
a
4
good
as
start.
well.
Do you know what happened with WF?
I've honestly got absolutely zero idea what's been happening with this race, because the game's just constantly throwing it always, and it's really. But I mean, it does look like it's settled now, and I'm seeing time penalties flashing up on the bottom screen as well. So drivers really struggling to kind of keep their car committed to the lines. And we've got DXT in the pit lane, so his run for tonight was short-lived. He had an average qualifying, average start as well from what we saw. I don't know if we picked up some damage along the way somewhere, and that's kind of just resulted in
a lot of penalties at the moment.
Definitely, it's going to be a learning curve for most of these drivers. It really might come down to the fact.
Learning curve for the drivers. It could be a learning curve for Bruno with it. If he tries to run outside of the hairpin, he's trying to make that move. You have DRS down straight and everything. So Bruno is on the charge here in Vietnam, in the final sector.
He's definitely been looking a bit punchy as we see yellows at the back of the field. That's between Mari and BZ. I don't know if they've just got their braking all wrong into that hairpin, and that's going to be key for the drivers as well, is the braking zone into turn 11s it's very heavy on the car. So if you mistime your braking by like a fraction of a second, you can easily just be driving straight into the rear wing of somebody in front if you're in traffic, because the dirty air is going to be pulling you in, and the slipstream is going to be constantly increasing your level of acceleration and your general top end speed in the car. And if you just mistime your braking by that slight fraction, then your race can be done. That's the big punishment on that straight. I mean, it's going to provide a lot of overtaking opportunity, but if you're still stuck in traffic, it's up to you to get your reference right.
Hamjam and Bruno will go and stop outside down the straight. Dodge used to out the traffic, which we'll move on to that in a moment. We see when we sort of this battle up. We can see it on the broadcast now. Hamjam has got the overtake done on Bruno Will, but it looks like Bruno Will is trying to go around the long way, and it's side both sides from Mercedes there in the second roundabout section, very close, but Hamjam's got the overtake in it, looks like. It looks like they're both being looking at each other's race numbers, which is kicking off here in Vietnam. Down the straight then, DRS for Bruno Will is going to hold some inside. Is he going to go for a different move? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's going to have a better speed as well. He's going to force Hamjam wide a little bit. That was quite aggressive there from the Brazilian, but he's got the overtake done back on the Hamjam. I think that's a very decent overtake move actually, but quite aggressive.
I think it was really close racing between the two Mercedes drivers there. A wee bit of the elbows out there for Hamjam to make the move round the outside and then get the inside for 7. Bruno Will decided to concede the place and try and do the early switchback in the inside of the roundabout. Hamjam got the grip on the outside, really close stuff there, yellow flags in the third sector, and that looks to be for HRC at the back. He seems to get the car up and running once again now, but drivers, the two teammates really getting know that I can see he's in the pit lane away, and to get the wing changed and the tyres changed as well for good measure. But two Mercedes in close combat there.
Bruno Will's got a racing. Bruno Will, we're going to go back onto this battle. Bruno Will, Hamjam is back on the back of Bruno Will. Bruno Will on the back of Bullseye. Down the straight, DRS, no overtake. He's got more overtake to his disposal than Bullseye. Little cheek of the corner there. It looks like Hamjam getting good run round that second roundabout, which now has got the DRS to keep up with Bullseye.
He's going to have this crucial double slipstream as well. He's got his Mercedes teammate in front who's going to give Bullseye a bit of a run into the hairpin at turn 11. Bullseye's going to have to keep the car central and have the inside on the brake, and Bruno Will tries to go along the long way round.
Bruno Will gets the brakes. Stop there, contact him to John, contact down into the hairpin, side by side. A bit of overtake down on exit from Bruno Will. Bruno Will gets the overtake done inside line. Completely, if you like, up the inside there, you go to 3.
And that's going to be crucial for the Mercedes as well, because there's a 2.2 second gap to Hamjam in second place, and that's got a lot of clear air. So Bullseye really been dropping off for the front too. So I don't know if maybe he's suffering a kind of quicker rate of tyre wear. The track itself, the degradation is pretty average. I feel like tyre saving is definitely feasible, but we've got the rain. Maldi. Rains came in lap 6. I just seen the small transition change on the screen there to see that the rain.
Danny, it's got to be amazing for Danny, because we don't know if the rain's going to continue to fall heavy. We don't know. We don't know. As Mercury here is battling Fusion Rixie at the back end of the top 10, which is some good little content here for the drivers. We've got LOS Mercury now DRS, and he's going to have overtake.
Is he going to go inside? Toxic Fusion's going to shut off the inside line, making him have to go the long way round into turn 6. Mercury does resume the inside line for turn 6, makes it work, makes it stick, and he's up into 8th. And as you were saying, Maldi, the medium tyre runners are really going to be in their element at this point, because they're going to have a better level of grip, and they're not going to be as degraded as much as the softs. As I was saying, track degradation levels are quite average.
Out of the second roundabout, and he's already alongside Gravity halfway down the straight. And there you go, P6 for the Alpha. He's on fire with Danny right now. There's going to be a big call for Danny, because we don't know really if these drivers are going to be struggling with their soft tyres. Soft tyres, this is the time to pit. Got 3 wide, and 16 Mercury and Libero getting involved as well. Thinking of the inside great moves there from a Renault. Oh, that was like a bully, that was.
And you can just see that the driver's only putting the full commitment into the throttle and into the speed through the third sector. The rain's getting a lot heavier, which means the track's getting greasier, and there's some pit lane action.
Danny's in the pit lane, Travis is in, Dix is in, Libero's in, Mo's in. This could be a big moment, Ricky. It's like a 1:34 lap. These drivers look like they're struggling. If this is time for Inters, this could be it for Danny, Ricky. I've said this is a big moment for Danny. When the rain starts to fall, he's in prime position to take the lead.
And what's crucial for that too, Maldi, is the DRS disabled activation notification there, and the wet weather just getting a bit heavier means the top 5 weren't aware of it at the time, and they need to do another lap. There's the warning there on the boat with your screen there. DRS is disabled, so that means it's turned off for the rest of this race, or at the current moment, as the rain is continuing to get heavier and just makes the circuit that bit. And they're not going to. It wouldn't be too surprising to maybe see DJ Danny kind of half that gap at least, get it to 10 seconds before these top 5 pit, because they're going to have to be very tentative into the braking zone. I won't board with Ham Jam is the last of the 5 at the front, and he's going to start slowing down. He's locked up, and he's tapped Bullseye. He's locked up. And that's the thing there as well. There doesn't seem to be any damage there, but you can just see how much he has to work the steering wheel and the throttle there. You can hear it, and you can see it on the telemetry in the bottom right as well. It's general feather throttle, and Bullseye's looking up into turn 13. Ham Jam's going to try and go side by side. This isn't the place. This is not the place to try and battle with the driver in front. This is just a matter of just keeping the car in the right direction as DJ Danny is going to continue to close that gap.
Davies is in. Jam Ham is in. Bruno Wilton. This could be damaging for both Mercedes, Brucey.
There's a 4.2 gap between the two teammates, so it'll definitely slow Ham Jam, as he'll need to wait for his rear jackman to get out the way so he can actually drive into his pit box.
Pit lane now, Brucey. Davies out the pit lane now. Danny is coming down the
in the final turn.
Straight. Let's see. The slow pit lane.
I think maybe Davison will be fine. Jamham maybe a push. DJ Danny is coming through turn 1. You'll see Jamham's Haas going through the screen there, and the Mercedes of Bruno Will, but it's Bullseye and Ham Jam that are losing out. Ham Jam's still in the pit lane, and he's lost a lot of places already, down into 8th, 7th. I mean, 2 places, it's still, you don't want to lose any places, but DJ Danny and Gravity seem to be the 2 big winners there, up into P4 and 6, and Bullseye has lost out there.
What a race Ham Jam from Davidson at the moment. What a performance from him. 4.5 seconds to pick out, and he was on soft tyres. Right, he made that work. He made that work.
He was managing the gap. It was a matter of just keeping it was just a matter of keeping the slightest amount of tyre temperature in the soft tyres, because in these conditions, the soft tyres are going to be, I mean, they started in the softs, so the tyres are going to have been degraded, which means there's going to be a general lack of grip. And when the wet weather hits, the track's just going to be greasy. It just completely reduces the grip that the tyres had. So Davidson's done an exceptional job to try and nurse the car, keep a level amount of temperature in the tyre, and keep the car in the right direction. He has built his gap to Jamham, even on the in-lap there, and then the pit stop just seemed to be very efficient for the Williams team, and it's a 5-second gap at the front.
Danny then, a big winner in that strategy call there, Ricky. He pitted at the exact right time. He did. Great call from him. Gravity as well, also pitted. It's all about the dynamics. He fought them with a big race for him, and it looks like he's keeping the gap to Bruno well as well. He's not really gone down as much. We know he's a very good driver in a wet condition, so these guys will be very scared to get around him.
Drivers will just really be kind of trying to find a bit of comfort in the settings that they've got on their car, in the weather. The rain just seems to be heavy on that. Murray, he's retired in the pit lane again. It's the same as DXT Miles. He's retired in the pit lane as well, so I don't know if we just missed a mistake from him there in the AlphaTauri, but he is retired from the race on lap 9 of 28. Yellow flags are out in the third. sector, which is turn 23 on the run down to turn 1 as well. So yellow flags will be out there until they just clear the AlphaTauri in the pit lane, and as I speak about that, the track goes green there once again. But just really kind of sitting on board with Mercury. This is the closest, I mean, I was going to say the closest battle, but there's a train behind Toxic Fusion between himself, Churka, and WWF and McLaren, and this is for P12. So this is the closest battle on the track, as well as we see HRC picking up penalty for corner cut as well, and that's going to be key as well, Maldy. I mean, I've been saying this is going to be key. Key seems to be my favourite word in the vocabulary at the minute, but it's definitely going to be key for the drivers to keep the car within the lines, because if you, it kind of comes back to that whole, if you get a bit too greedy in the curb, if you completely mistake your braking, you're going to pick up a penalty for extending track limits and corner cut as well. So the stewards are being quite ruthless when it comes to, well, the in-game stewards are a bit ruthless when it comes to penalties on this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I'll call that
6 and 7.
Very ruthless in terms of warnings and things.
Oh, and we've got Mercury and Toxic Fusion going side by side through the third sector, and Toxic Fusion's off the track, and Mercury's diving into the pits. I don't know if there's been contact there, but Toxic Fusion was really just kind of...
There's tension in the pipe, there's going to be tension.
So, in the third sector as well, it's not really where you'd expect to see it on race day, but, I mean, we've been seeing some drivers
really,
get into...
We can't expect anything on race day around here, isn't it, out of race?
Exactly, we don't have any expectations, and I mean, there's like some ideas that we've got in our mind, like, oh, we'll no see any action in this part of the circuit. This part of the circuit. This is good for, but we've been seeing a lot of action through that endless sequence of left and rights in the third sector. Drivers getting a bit feisty through there, kind of punching above their weight a wee bit in that sector. The walls are literally right next to the white lines on the circuit, and they're ready to punish the slightest mistake. And the drivers are just like, I'm gonna make a move here, lads. Just watch this, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing drivers making some moves. We've got a yellow flag in the first sector, and that's
green once
again. Oh, and Churka's hit the wall down the straight, Maldy, just to cut across you there. So
Churka's got damage to his car as well. Damage to Mercury's car. I think it's in the inside wall as well. So, yeah, this is not what the drivers want. So it's very hard on the roundabout, especially the second one would be, where they're hitting the wall because they don't know where to turn in. They're unknown after the circuit. And I don't really think these guys are very comfortable around the circuit yet.
I think this race is really just going to act as a kind of prototype for ourselves as commentators, as the drivers, obviously. So they're just going to really try and it's just a reference for the drivers, just to kind of really see like how much can I push, when can I push, where can I push, how much ERS can I use, how much tyre wear am I getting every lap, and all that data and information is being processed on the telemetry and in their mind as well. So they're going to have to try and understand their car better, and they're going to have to be more on edge and ready for any conflict, mistakes, combat on the circuit, because the weather's getting very tumultuous. The rain's just getting heavier, Maldy, so I don't know if we might even expect a wee stint on wets. We're only in lap 11, we're not even hitting the half race distance just yet, and the rain's just continuously getting heavier. But we've got Ham Jam in a slipstream of Gravity down the big straight. This is for P6. Gravity's gone to the inside. Ham Jam's going to stick on the main line, and Gravity's just going to have to settle for tucking in behind the Mercedes and letting Ham Jam go after Bullseye, and that's a switch for P6 there as well.
I don't know if this is a glitch, but Bruno Will is doing some madness with his gears. The gear changes are very weird. Don't know if it's the same for you, but it's very weird. He's revving out every gear.
Let me see now. Leave it as well. I'm on board with Bruno Will through the last sector as he has closing in on Jamham and the Haas. His gear shifts are very quick. He's short shifting up gears, and that's going to help improve his traction. You'll see it here as he upshifts to third and then fourth and it's to help the rear traction of the car, Maldy, because the car will provide too much torque, and if you're in if the car's providing too much torque and a lower gear, then it's just going to create wheel spin, and you don't want to do that in wet weather, because when you generate too much wheel spin, the car spins. So he's really just short shifting to kind of minimise the to maximise the traction and minimise the possibility of a wheel spin and a general spin in that matter as well. So he's upshifting early to avoid spinning, really. But it's really working a treat though, because he is right behind Jamham though in this big straight. I don't think he'll be close, but he is definitely going to be closer come the braking zone as he closes in on the Haas. The slipstream plane, it's part, the dirty aero plate is part as well, under braking, doing into first for the, and you can see him just again into second, and he's not even putting 60% of the throttle in on the exit before shifting up to third again, and that's just going to keep helping his traction. It also helps his rear tyre wear as well, so Bruno will really just kind of think about the tyres at this stage as well. So I've not really noticed anybody else really short shifting, but I'm on board with Jamham, and they're both at similar DRS as well. So
I could do it maybe, but I haven't seen anyone else do it, so I was a little bit concerned. But now Bruno will, in his knowledge, do good use. He is, I would say, the best driver in the league in the West. So, in that knowledge that he's got, very good use. But we'll see. I mean, it's kind of what we expected. There's not many battles here in Vietnam.
It's been quite quiet. I mean, the wet weather coming in on laps 6 and 7 was really just kind of throwing us off a little bit, because we did have a kind of organised structure at the front and some battles in the midfield as well, and the rain almost nearly flipped that on its head, but the only people that have really lost it for going a bit further on, and soft hasn't started in Hamjam and Bullseye, they've both only lost one place, but it's allowed DJ Danny to jump them up into P4, and he's really been able to maximise the early pit stop as well, and just timed the change of tyre to intermediates at the right time. So it's really a matter of, and Bullseye's not exactly closing in on him either. It's a 3.6 second gap. So DJ Danny really out there kind of driving the wheels off the car a wee bit at this stage, as we see Jamham defending for Bruno Will once again into the hairpin of 11.
Hamjam, sorry Ricky, Hamjam and Bullseye down the straight side by the side into the hairpin. Seen this before.
He gets the move. Bullseye got up. I think he went a bit too wide there. He wasn't really in camera shot there, as we see Buckley retiring in the pit lane as well. So that's a third retirement of the race, and that's and the retirement is the side story at the minute, as we see Hamjam getting up into P5. Bullseye was on the outside into the hairpin. Hamjam was dominating the inside line into that hairpin. Bullseye tried to go the long way around and try and get a bit of better traction, but I think he just kind of dipped his rear right onto the curb, and that's kind of threw his car into a half spin, and that's why we never really saw him in the camera shot either. So Bullseye really just kind of running a bit wide. He's not really been closing the gap to DJ Danny, but he's not exactly losing time either. And we'll see if it's either just Bullseye and his experience in the wet in Vietnam through his practice sessions and his setup and such between his data, and we see Bullseye just throwing the car into a slide there through the roundabout of turn 2 into turn 3 as well. So we'll really kind of gauge, and he's just getting a bit of a wobble on Maldi. He doesn't really look too comfortable in that car at the minute, and he's going to have gravity there for P6 as well. So yeah, Bullseye really no looking like the driver we saw in Bahrain.
Bullseye, yeah, he weren't really confident even before the rain came out. The rain came down, so yeah, not a good day so far for Bullseye, but a very good day we see. The Gabby's in already. P1, he's in P1, and he's actually pushing out the gap to Jamham and Bruno Will. So that's off to the other teams. An incredible job there.
Davies will just be hoping that Jamham can keep getting in Bruno Will's way and just kind of keep defending into that hairpin at 11. I feel like that's the only real strong opportunity for overtaking with the current conditions. I mean, in the dry, I'd probably like tip somebody to maybe make a move into turn 6, the second DRS level, because it's so wet, and the fact that general traction is a bit of a struggle for some of the drivers. We're not really going to see such a strong run into turn 6, but we'll still see it on the big massive straight into turn 11. So Bruno Lowe, I feel like that's where his only real chance is going to be for an overtake at this stage, because Jamham's really doing everything he needs to do to keep that second place, but they're both losing time to Davison in front. It's not much, it's fractional, but it's enough, and that's going to please Davison, that's going to be comforting him, that's going to be like a very relaxing situation for him, because it means he can just nurse the tyres, nurse the ERS, and just kind of try and maintain that gap, as he's got his lead up to 8 seconds at this stage.
Ricky, Dixie is in the pit lane on the set of intermediates, so he's maybe had a bit of maybe a bit of contact on the lap. He had to come in, fresh set of boots on, and he didn't keep driving. Not a good day. But he had some decent. He had a great race actually in Bahrain, if you remember. So not the race that he wanted. And talking of another race that the drivers don't want, Shirka, he's out of the Vietnam Grand Prix race. So these drivers, they are struggling here in Vietnam.
In Racing Point have retired both cars there, so they'll not be leaving Vietnam with a point. So Buckley retired early in the race, and Nats Trucker retired as well, so both Racing Points have retired and are out. Yellow flags in the third sector, that's for LRS Mercury. I think we've made a mistake, I made some contact with HRC there, I don't really know it, we just saw the yellow flags flashing up. Yeah, Maldi, we're going to see, we're probably going to see another pit stop for these drivers. I don't have too much confidence in them making the intermediates last to lap 28. That's an extra 12 laps on top of the 7 laps we've already done. So I'm not really kind of too sure if they'll make it to the end with the same set of boots they're on just now. So I will expect some pit lane. I mean, the one thing I'll expect is potentially some more pit lane activity around like the lap 19-20 mark, and that's going to be like an 8 lap dash to the end where the intermediates have got left.
Yes, Paul said that in the interview with me that perhaps we could be seeing drivers go on to a set of wets. Is there's a driver off the circuit?
That was Chucker's retired car, I think. Maldi at turn 6, the roundabout, the second roundabout, was a Racing Point just kind of stranded in the middle, and he retired in the pit lane, but the car managed to get the first sector done. So, talk about management. Is Bruno Lowe going to make the move into 11? But we see there's a yellow flag in the first sector, and that's for the McLaren, and that's Billy WF, and he's made a mistake as well in the turn 5.
Ricky, it's so confusing because he got pole position, if you remember, in qualifying. Billy WF got pole position in qualifying, and he's down to 12, and he's made a mistake. This is not what we want. I feel really sorry for Billy. You know, last season having Unicorn, there's some great performances back in the last season, and now he's running at the back of the field. He's got no points this season, and he's obviously not going to score any points here today. So it's not what he needs.
And it's really just it's quite upsetting in a sense, because Urban Unicorn, Billy WF, sorry, Urban Unicorn, as you clarified just a moment ago, he was really strong last season. He did have some strong races. He was always one for kind of throwing caution to the wind. He was always one for trying the ultimate strategy, and he picked up a few wins along the way as well. And to see him struggle, like he has here in the first 3 races so far, I really thought his pole position time and then his potential P6 on the grid was going to kind of act as a turning point for his season. He's not the best start in Australia and Bahrain, and Vietnam's just unfortunately looking like another one to add to that list. I mean, the saving grace for drivers like, and he's left the session, so I don't know if that's disconnection or just him having a bit of a rage and just kind of packing it in for the night.
HRC's in the pits, I think he's packing in as well.
And he's in the pit lane as well, so we've seen a double Racing Point retirement. Now we're going to see a double McLaren retirement as well, as they've both left the session. So I don't really know what else he needs to do. I don't know if it's maybe just the fact that the strategy didn't work for him, the weather just kind of played a part that he didn't want it to be playing.
I don't know, really. I think we're talking about Billy. I think the strategy was good for him, as we can see Jamham in the pit lane now. Yeah, HRC's retired. I think it's because they don't know much about these circuits, so they're making amateur errors, and that's what we don't want to see.
And we're seeing some more pit lane activity as well. Murray just started to completely deflect the conversation for a moment as we see DJ Danny, Hamjam and Bullseye all in. Bruno Will and Davison going again for another lap. But maybe the question is, Maldy, maybe it's the game. Maybe he's not familiar with the way the game feels, the way the cars feel in this game, the new Formula 1 game, the new life cycle. Because he was really strong in the last game, which was 2019. The last season was on 2019 as well, so maybe he's just kind of not got to general grip with the way the game runs. So I don't want to kind of sit here and sound like I'm just kind of writing a list of my excuses, but maybe it is just the fact that he's just generally not got that confidence in the game just yet, and that's when we're seeing the Urban Unicorn that we once knew.
The Urban Unicorn was, up for championship battle, championship battle for the first season 2019. Victories, fastest laps, pole positions. This season, no points on the board, so disappointing for him. But Hamjam Rigsy is now on the back of Danny, so we're going to have to keep an eye on this, because this could be a good little battle that we're going to see. And Bruno we will be expecting him to pit with Davison, but Davison's not come into the picture yet.
Davison, I don't know. If we see Bruno Will gone, Bruno Will's into the pits, so he needs to cover Jamham. He needs to watch Jamham. I'm surprised Bruno Will never really was the one that made the pit stop first between the two, because that could have maybe gave him second place, because they were both really very close on the circuit, very nip and tuck between the two. So Bruno Will opting for the overcut. I mean, we need to see, I'm on board with Hamjam, because he's right behind DJ Daniels for fourth place. Jamham's just coming round the final corner onto his 20th lap at the moment. Bruno Will's strolling down the pit lane, so it could be very close between the two. So we'll need to maybe be wary of what's happening on the timing deltas on our left-hand side, as we see Jamham just getting out in front, but Bruno Will's going to go side by side.
Very wide.
If he makes the move here, I might have to maybe kind of pitch the question that he'd have to kind of give the place back, because he was completely off the circuit there to try and get a run in on Jamham down to turn 6. So Bruno Will was really close to the pit exit as Jamham was going through turn 2, and that's the other thing as well, Maldy. That's kind of a question I've just got generally, as you see Bruno Will get up the inside of Jamham through the second roundabout onto turn 10 into the big straight, but that's the question as well, is the fact that the pit lane exit comes onto the main racing line at turn 2, and you come out the pit lane with a good deal of speed, because you come out the pit lane.
Yeah.
It's because when you come out the pit lane, the limiter gets turned off before you take the small left-hander back onto the circuit, and then the track, the pit lane exit merges onto the racing line that drivers take onto turn 2. So that in racing conditions, especially in these adverse conditions as well, is definitely going to be dangerous. We saw the brief moment, I didn't get it fully on stream, but Bruno Will went completely off circuit to avoid Jamham and even try and get a run into turn 6. I felt if he made that move, he'd have to kind of concede the place on the straight. For the second roundabout, because I feel that's getting an advantage, as we see a yellow flag out at the second roundabout for LRS Mercury again. So Mercury having a couple of moments, a couple of mistakes, so definitely no feeling too confident with the race strategy in the conditions.
Great thing.
So,
I just really want
yes.
to just point out Davison, what a performance from him today. That now up to 9.2 seconds, and he had more warm tires. He's driving an incredible race.
It's definitely been very controlled for the Williams driver up front. He's been looking like the star of the show. He's definitely been in complete control of the race. A strong start. He was in headed pole position following Billy's demotion for making contact with Vise on the qualifying run somewhere. That was in just was able to pull away, kind of keep the gap, manage the gap. It was just that couple of tenths a lap quicker than Jam Ham and Bruno Will and Ham Jam and Bullseye, who was all there chasing, and he was getting the pit stops right. He was able to go the extra couple of laps on that second stint there, and he's got fresher tyres than everybody on the circuit, with the exception of Vise, who's in 10. So really in a strong commanding position on lap 20, and there's 8 laps left. It's just a matter of keeping out the walls here.
He's still gaining the time material. He's now 10 seconds. Like, this is insane from Davison.
And the rain's also getting heavier as well, Maldi, so maybe intermediates will maybe have a drop, as we see Ham Jam leaving the session as well. So I don't know what's happened there as his car's ghosted. Jam Ham's still in the lobby though, so I think that must be an issue with Ham Jam. Need to try and get them back in at some point. I don't know what's really happened there, but well, we're going to try and get him back in. Back in. He's lost.
I've just seen that. If you look at Bullseye, I just want to beat the pit exit. But look at Bullseye. He goes wide here. And it's the pit lane. It's the exit.
It's a very
dangerous.
It's definitely. It definitely does raise a few eyebrows, and it's the fact that the drivers can leave the pit lane with some speed.
We'll move on to Simic, Bruno Will, and Jam Ham into the hairpin. Here we go, running outside, goes Bruno Will. Is he going to pull this off? No, there you have it. Jam Ham does the defending. Bruno's going to be inside for the next corner. We'll see side by side. Talk about pit lane in a minute, because it's kicking off here in Vietnam. It's kicking off. Land of the Dragon, kicking off.
And Bruno will give a bit of wheel banging there to the Haas driver there. Jam Ham was kind of like yeeted onto the curb there, so to speak, for lack of a better word, but Bruno will really just kind of having to get his elbows out and knowing that he was maybe losing a bit too much time under the under Jam Ham, but Bruno Will does make the place up into P2 following a move into 13, and you can just see him already kind of stretching his legs in the clear air, and Jam Ham's already a second back, so maybe it was just a matter of having to get by. I think it's way too late in the day now, unless Davison makes a mistake somewhere on the lap. And we're getting a small interval time glitch, so apologies folks for we are getting them filtering through once everybody starts the 22nd lap, so we will keep you updated.
Hopefully they do fix the timing. Cheers. The beast is in the wall span.
What's happened with him there? His car's ghosted and he's back into solid form there, but no really been the race for VZ, running 11th at the moment, following a spin. He's got some damage as well, so Ham Jam's car's controlled by AI, so this will be potentially a straightforward move for CC into P5, and he's, as soon as I say that, his car's regained control of Ham Jam, so Ham Jam was right up behind DJ Danny as well, and was giving DJ Danny a run for his money at 4th place, and just through the simple disconnection, the gap's back up to 8.2 seconds, so Ham Jam really lost out. But one driver that's lost out to everybody for that top 5 battle for earlier is Bullseye. You were saying a few laps ago, Maldi, he was just kind of really. He was looking a bit worse for wear on these tyres. The setup just doesn't look like it's really complementing his driving his car. His car just looks very uneasy, from what we saw. And he's just kind of running his own race in P8. Hamjam's left.
There's issues for Hamjam. Very unfortunate, because Hamjam doesn't deserve to have these good positions. Talking about, because he's running in currently P6, we'll never take him by 16, but you just never see he was on the back of Danny, so he definitely has pace for potential P4 there, so unfortunate. But Bruno will, Rick Steve looks like Bruno Will is bringing the gap down to Davison ever so slightly.
Davison and Bruno Will looking to be lapping at similar pace. Jamham's already drifted back to 3.7 seconds, still in a strong third position though. But that's it's unfortunate to see Hamjam having these issues as well, because Hamjam, along with his brother, have been two drivers that I feel genuinely have really improved their pace for this season. We saw Hamjam having a kind of good run of form at the end of season 16 on the 2018 game. We saw him carry that momentum forward. I mean, both of them had an unfortunate disconnection in Australia. They had a strong Bahrain as well. And even here in Vietnam with these adverse conditions, the rain just gradually getting heavier. It's a bit of an unknown for everybody on the field. And they were both up in P3 and 4 and 3 and 5. And the connection's costing Hamjam a place. It's costing him time. And he's probably going to be struggling to keep 6 at this point, because Gravity's going to be right behind his Mercedes as well. So what looked to be potentially P4 is looking to be a matter of keeping 6.
Unfortunate. I think Hamjam is back now in his seat. I think he's going to take control. But I think an AI is driving like that. I'm not quite sure what is he. We said the Vietnam track, and a lot of people have said this, they said that the Vietnam track really isn't a very good track for racing. And I don't think it is. It's very, very, very hard to find somewhat of a place to overtake around this track.
It really is just a matter of... It's a matter of being methodical in your actions as a driver. It really has limited areas and scope for overtaking. Like, I'm on board with Mercury, the only real overtaking opportunities are at the end of the free DRS zones in the dry. But once it comes to the wet weather, it really minimises the opportunity, because the only real overtaking place is turn 11 in the wet, because you're not going to get a strong run through turn 23 into turn 1, and you're not going to get a strong run over the runabout at turn 2, 3, 4 and 5 to get around to 6. So it really is just a matter of into turn 11. And I mean, I was a bit sceptical with the track, as like general opinion, this isn't my professional opinion, but the general opinion of the circuit is it completely limits the wheel-to-wheel action as a driver, and as a spectator, you're not being accompanied by the wheel-to-wheel action you'd get at other circuits. Well, even in circuits like we said in the qualifying, like when we talk about Valencia, at least there was some racing in Valencia. I mean, I say that, and then I'm going to put this hypocritical fact that the Valencia race in real life in 2009, there was 0 overtakes on the circuit. But there has been overtaking there in 2010, 2012, like 2008 was another good race there. It did still provide racing. Whereas here in Vietnam, I mean, we're kind of thrown a bit of a shallow judgment because it's their first race here, and the weather's kind of played a big part in it. But it really hasn't been a heavyweight. It hasn't really said to us, this track's providing exceptional overtaking. It's just simply providing the fact that there's a big massive straight, turn 11, get your braking right, get the inside, and that's you. Turn 1 and 6 is other places in the dry, strictly in the dry. But because it's a wet weather race, we're not getting that, and it kind of does changed the opinion, so I can kind of somewhat mostly agree with the opinion that most drivers say that this track isn't really a racer's circuit.
Yeah, it's just very difficult to overtake on the circuit. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow with them. Say this. After watching tonight, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow's race. It was, I would say, my favourite track to drive. Tomorrow, it may not be. Yeah.
And while we're sitting talking about tomorrow's race, be sure to join my co-commentator STB Maldi. He'll not be in the booth, he'll be at the wheel at the Renault tomorrow night here at Vietnam for Tier 2. Tuesday, 8 o'clock British Standard Time.
Yeah, I haven't had a very good season so far, really, so I will be hoping to get myself back up and running here in Vietnam. It is my favourite track on the game, so yeah, I know I've just literally slated it completely, but it is my favourite track on the game, so I'm going for a better performance. But I think, you know what, Richard, I think these drivers will be very happy with how the race is run, especially Davidson. He won 11 seconds to the gap, he's beaten Bruno well, and you know what, I think Richard Davidson would be a very, very big dark horse for this championship challenge, because in all 3 races he has gone against his hours. He's proved them.
He's been, he's kind of like the Trojan horse. He's really just kind of, you wouldn't think him to be there, but he is. Like, he is just kind of that dark horse that might just come into the fray if he can get a couple of race wins under his belt, can get some momentum, get some points. Is he your driver of the day? And we'll ask that to the viewers as well. Who do you think has been worthy of the title of Driver of the Day for Vietnam in Tier 1 of STB? I will pitch that question to Maldi as well. Is Davison your Driver of the Day, or is it somebody else in the field that's really showing it?
Personally, I would say Davison has been an incredible performance for me. But yeah, I think Davison is definitely probably that.
I could probably kind of throw my weight behind that as well. I think Davison's just kind of excelled in these changing conditions. He was qualified originally in second, got the pole, took a solid start, albeit it was very glitchy for us in the booth. It was very jaded for us. We didn't really get to see what was really happening, so we apologise once again for that. But once that start kind of started to fizzle down and kind of settle, Davison just kind of ran with it at the front, and I don't really think there has been some strong drives up and down the field, as well. Let me just kind of get him up. He's up 13 places. He started 18th from last. He's up into 5th, so it's a strong showing for him, and I will recommend him as well. He's a strong nomination as well, but I think maybe Davison just edges it for the control and the command at the front. But Sitsi is a very honourable mention as well.
Yeah, basically, I really don't want people that run Vietnam watch the stream back.
I really
don't want that. So,
I mean,
yeah,
it's the fact as well that there's plenty, like, when you look at Vietnam from an aerial point, like an aerial perspective, you can see it's a lot of land. Like, there's a lot of ground to play with. So maybe they might just look at the fact they might try and reconfigure bits of the circuit, try and help improve overtaking. I can see they're trying to be different, but sometimes it's best just to kind of keep it relatively simple. Like, I like the additions of the 2 roundabouts, but did they really help with overtaking? No. The session you're trying to spectate is no longer available. Are you still here? I've just been hooked at the game.
I've been kicked out of the session as well, Riggsy.
So that's new.
Give me one moment.
That is new. Oh,
I'll try and join.
we get back in.
I'll try
Get back in.
Sorry about this, viewers. The game is not. It's not cooperating with us here this evening.
Definitely no been on our side tonight. The game had a... And we're back at the... Are we back at the start? Let me try and jump on board with somebody. Right. It's went back to qualifying. So, the results that you see on the left-hand side of the screen, only the results that represent the race. This was the qualifying result. But we've got Davison, who's on a lap in the dry on soft tyres. So if the track's just kind of rapidly dried up, then
what is going on?
This is very unusual. I'm really kind of struggling for words here. I really don't know what's went wrong. But Davison does take the checkered flag. Checkered flag is actually out, so that does work for us, and it's going to be Bruno Will crossing the line and saying that it's weird now. It's still working for me, but it's dry and they're all in soft tyres and they're crossing the line. It's weird. It's unusual. It's really unheard of. But these results on the representative what the race was. I'm going to have to try and remember whatever it was. It is Seatsy that will cross the line in 5th. Let me just try and get him on board there. We see him coming through the line there. And then it was Ham Jam and the Mercedes. I'm just trying to kind of remember who was where come the end of the race. I do apologise for the viewers. We extended apologies for the game just kind of deciding to have a bit of a nightmarish moment. As we see Toxic Fusion just tapping the Williams that looks to be the Williams Libero, and that's for P89. And the race... No, it's not for P89, that was the qualifying places, right. I've generally no idea, because it's saying the strategy, it's telling me what tyres folk I want to be on at what lap.
Yeah, it's not letting me spectate, Rigsy. It's not letting me spectate.
The game's threw me right back into the pits as well. Who won? It looked to be Davison. It was Davison before we disconnected. When I came back into the race, it was weird because the race was in heavy rain conditions. The track was so wet, the spray was so thick, the clouds were so gloomy, full of rain. And then when I came back into the lobby, the track was dry as a bone and it was soft tyres. It was really strange, but it is Davison that does seem to take the win under these very unusual conditions.
Very weird.
I think it is
Never experienced anything like that.
No, definitely no. We're gonna... I don't really know how we're gonna do this then, because I was trying to remember I don't know, like, I really don't know what the ruling is on this, Maldy. I don't have any say on the ruling, so it might even be a race that ends up being confirmed. This is just unofficial. Like, we don't really know what's happened. We might need to go back on the countback.
Are you... What's on your screen at the moment?
I'm just looking at the pit lane. Like, it's dry as a bone, looking at the pit lane, the race is done, checkered flag's out.
Is the results showing up on the left?
No, that's just the qualifying results. Excuse me. It's just the qualifying results, so it's like Davison, Jam, Ham, Bullseye, Ham, Jam, Bruno, Billy. Like, it's just the qualifying results, Maldy. It's just showing me that.
Oh, okay. Right then, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this game, you don't know what we're doing. But I remember Davison was first, second was Bruno Will.
Oh, I've been kicked out. I've been kicked out again, Maldy.
Pardon?
I've been kicked out again.
Very,
right, I'm back
very
in the
weird.
lobby.
Very, very weird. Very weird. Here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe we've got P3. Jamham, can you confirm that you finished in P3?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Include your audio and we will give you a quick question. Quite a good race, to be fair, Jamham. Me and Riggsy had a whole madness in the closing stages. Our game just completely decided, you know what, no, you're going to go, you're going to glitch, you're going to go out. But Jamham, just go for us, your race, P3, another podium. Yeah, how was your race from your perspective?
Yeah, I'm really happy with that, to be honest. First podium of the season, and I believe I'm in the top 3 in the championship now. So, yeah, pretty happy with the race. I think the two ahead of me, Davison and Bruno Will, just a bit too quick for me. I kept Bruno Will behind as long as I could, but nah, not quite long enough. As soon as he got by me, he was quite a bit quicker.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I got the best I could.
Yes. What are your views on the Hanoi circuit after tonight's Grand Prix?
Well, I liked it before, and obviously a good result here is probably going to make me like it even more. But no, it's one of these where if you hook it up and get a good result, it's quite rewarding.
Okay, John, thank you, and well done on your third place. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Davison and Bruno Will can't speak English very well, so we're going to conclude things here in Vietnam. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for staying professional near the end, for when it all got very weird scenes at the end of that race. But, Riggsy, thank you for joining me here this evening.
It was a pleasure to be back once again, albeit the situation we got in at the end's just, I mean, we apologise for the inconvenience, but we will just lay blame on the game there for that particular ending. We will try and get an official publication of results out at some point on Twitter, and just be sure to watch Tier 2's race at Vietnam tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 o'clock British Standard Time, and hopefully there won't be the same glitches that we saw in tonight's race.
Okay. Thank you, Riggsy. Do, as Riggsy said, do join Mercury and DJ Danny for tomorrow's Tier 2 Vietnam Grand Prix, 8 PM BST. And do join me and Riggsy back for next week's Charlie live from the Shanghai International Circuit, the industrial capital of the world. And we'll see you next week for the Tier 1 Chinese Grand Prix. We'll see you then.